So to follow up with my last short, so I was talking about how the different creatures in the that you see in the four-faced creature that Ezekiel sees in his vision, and that are also related in the book of Revelation, how they relate to pieces of furniture in the tabernacle. And so I was talking about how the eagle is associated with the lampstand specifically, and that the eagle has something to do with the light of God, right? And so, like, for example, in English churches, traditionally the lectern where you read the gospel from is a brass eagle. Why is that? Well, the eagle is the only bird, and this is talked about in certain medieval vestuaries. The eagle is the only bird that can look directly into the sun without having its eyes burned. And so when you're reading the Gospels, you're looking directly into the light of God. Therefore, the eagle and the lampstand. Or St. Mark, the lion, the kingly, the bread of presence, something to do with the Gentiles or the man, the sacrificial altar, something to do with an ox, right? Another way you could think about another neat thing that works out its way out in the directions in the Bible is, again, I had mentioned in the last video that you enter the tabernacle from the east, but the Ark of the Covenant's in the west, and the church is the exact opposite. You enter from the west, and the high altar is in the east, okay? Well, the Israelites were entering the Garden of Eden when they entered the tabernacle. However, when we're in the church, we're already in the Garden of Eden as baptized believers, and then the high altar is in the east. Well, if you know the topography or just the way the land works in Jerusalem itself, the Mount of Olives, where Jesus ascends to heaven, is actually to the east of the temple itself. And so when Jesus ascends on the Mount of Olives, we are told that he will descend to us in the same way. He will condescend in the same way we saw him ascend. So every day at the Mass, when the priest is at the altar in the east, God condescends to us on the altar from the east, just as he ascended. So the God who ascended from the east of the temple condescends to us from the east, the tree of life present in the Mass. You know, it's in the Mass we're actually eating the tree of life as those in the garden. Stuff to chew on.